Wait a sec. I'm about to talk about something that's not Winx Club? I almost can't believe it. Hello everyone, my name is Teddy, and this marks the beginning of a new series on my channel. Don't worry, Winx is not being abandoned. It'll be returning shortly with all the magic and mystery that you're used to. But one of my New Year's resolutions is to have a more consistent upload schedule, and in order to do that, I need something that's not writing a novel every single time I make a video. I wanted to do a more fun, design-focused series anyway. And what's more design-focused than fashion dolls? I love Monster High. I'm so excited. Okay, let's get into it. It was so hard to figure out who to do first for this series. There's so many Monster High characters to choose from, and I have a few favorites, but I didn't want to start with them because honestly I feel like I'll do better with their designs if I do a few others first. So who shall we sacrifice as the first design? Well, you already know.
My given name is Spectra Vondergeist.
We're doing Spectra Vondergeist, daughter of a ghost. I mean, my channel is called Ghosts probably, though I guess I never explained that, huh? It's just a username that I came up with in like middle school when I was trying to make an online identity for posting art. I figured it would be fun to be like, ooh, a ghost probably posted. A ghost probably liked your photo, but that was taken, so it became multiple ghosts. God, it's so stupid. I'm sorry. As for why ghosts, my family's weird and has always been into them. I remember going over to my aunt's one year to watch the Super Bowl, only for us to end up marathoning Ghost Hunters instead. Ghost hunting shows are like a big comfort watch for me. I was so sad when BuzzFeed Unsolved ceased to exist, but Shane and Ryan's new show Ghost Files is fantastic. Can't wait for more. So, since I always sort of had a thing for ghosts specifically growing up, I remember being so excited to see who the first ghost character would be in Monster High. And then I did not like her. And yes, I did watch all the webisodes back in the day, but I would also go on the website and just look at the profiles over and over and over. You know how when you're a kid, sometimes there will be like an image where you're just like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and you just stare at it? I did that with the art for Monster High, and Goddess Girls, and My Sister the Vampire. I was just mesmerized by their cover art, I don't know. Actually, looking back, I do know. So anyways, there I was, a weird little kid into the spooky side of life, and my favorite paranormal creature gets a Monster High character, and I did not care for her. I didn't like the ghostly gossip thing.
Maybe 'cause you're the ghostly gossip. I don't believe you. Look what she's doing to you.
Having her be invisible and take pictures of people that were supposed to be her friends.
Why are you trying to ruin my life? I just got it, you know. Ruin your lives? Heavens no. I'm actually a fan of all of you. You've got a weird way of showing it.
And spread rumors and stuff while pretending it was journalism.
There's 1,000 different stories in a place like this. That's where I come in. Name's Spectra. I report the news.
And I didn't even like her design. I'm a purple person too. It's my favorite color still. But they used 2 different kinds of purple for her. And in my opinion, they kinda clash. Sorry, Spectra, I don't mean to be rude, but you know. I never liked the shape of her hair either. Like, it's supposed to look like it's floating, right? But it just looks stiff to me. You could slap her hair on a Sonic OC and she would fit right in. And I like retro hairstyles, like I like the Farrah Fawcett flip, but this is not that. Plus, her dress reminds me of one I wore to a middle school dance in like 2011. No, I will not be providing pictures, so that is also a big downside to me currently. I finally recently watched the Gen 3 reboot, just the cartoon, not the movies for now, and I was so relieved when I saw Spectra's new design. She looks so much better now. I could cry. I did give her lavender skin like her Gen 3 design, and I think having her be sort of monotone actually feels more ghostly than having her skin just be white, even though I don't think paper white skin and purple hair looks bad. I mean, just look at style icon Rarity My Little Pony. It seems like they dropped the gossip blog angle in favor of her just being a teenager who likes being on her phone, and I think that's so much better. Sorry, her eye coffin. I actually want this big lock she's wearing to be a purse. That detail feels very Monster High to me. A very character-specific accessory is what makes this design feel like it ties to that universe. All of the metal that she's wearing is supposed to be like a brass or bronze, which I imagine is all a little bit tarnished. I'm a big fan of jewelry like this, so we continue with the major self-indulgence of this design. But I also do think it works for her, both because of the color pairing nicely with her purples, and because I think silver and gold would just look too shiny and clean for a ghost like this. It also emulates the color of old rusted metal that has maybe been abandoned out in the elements or buried underground or something, without her actually wearing just straight up old rusty chains. I love how glowy they made her, and I think the way that she's all wispy and translucent suits the 3D style really nicely. I was one of those people whose delicate sensibilities was offended when the Gen 3 designs first came out, and it's part of why it took me so long to actually watch the show. But then I realized I have no right to get pissy about them changing the character concepts and lore in order to have a more cohesive world. I'm sure I'll talk about this more in other videos because there are some specific culprits that really got me in the beginning, but I did end up getting pretty attached to the new versions of them. Most of them, at least. There are some that I do not like. But Spectra is one of the redesigns I do really like. I love what they did with her hair and her outfit. They gave her shorts. Gen 1 Spectra is always flying around over people's heads in a miniskirt, and the fact that they accounted for that with her new look makes me really happy. The romper they put her in is super cute. I love the pattern being chains on top of her also having chains she wears as a belt. They really leaned into the ball and chain thing with her actually. She has a little headpiece that is also a chain, and there are chains on her boots, which have balls for heels, which is super cute. Oh, and she has a ball and chain attached to her wrist. I so badly want to know if she could take that off or if it's a permanent thing for ghosts. I bet that would get so annoying. Since I like her new design so much, there wasn't really anything I wanted to change about it, so I decided to try going in a totally different direction for this redesign. Though I did take a lot of inspiration from the lock and key earrings they gave her. I really like how they pair with the ball and chain idea. I do like the ball and chain thing on paper with how it relates to ghosts and being tethered to this plane even after death. But the thing about using a ball and chain as a design element is that you just end up with a lot of circles. Like, there isn't a lot of detail to play with when it comes to a big metal ball. I'm sure someone else could make it work, but I was much more confident integrating another design element that has more potential for fun shapes and stuff. Remember that character in Star vs. the Forces of Evil that was just obsessed with circles and drew them on everything? That's what I was scared this whole thing would turn into. That would be me. I was trying to figure out if we knew how Spectra died, and I saw something that said that she was a witch before she died, which is apparently a Harry Potter reference or something. I don't know about that since I'm a certified Harry Potter hater, but it seems like it might not even be the case. She just never reveals anything about how she died, but we know that she was probably a human, so she must have died. Maybe she doesn't even know the details since it was so long ago. I guess she just doesn't remember. That would also be me. Obviously, we know even less about Gen 3 Spectra. They just made her a side character. We don't find out anything. There's no movie about her time before Monster High. I was so happy with all the detail I put into her hair, and then when I was making the thumbnail for this video, I realized Gen 3 Spectra has teal streaks in the front of her hair that I legitimately just never noticed. And I'm kind of bummed because I think that would have looked good, but this is what we have. My original direction for her was to go for kind of a modern Ophelia vibe, with her having drowned or maybe having been drowned, you know, like in a murdery way, where someone chained her to something heavy and threw away the key. I know that didn't happen to Ophelia, but don't worry, I don't stay with that concept anyway. Since ghosts are such a nebulous concept with no real specific origin or lore that I could really pin down, I figured I should pick an iconic figure known for being dead, but unfortunately that original concept didn't really seem to stick as I kept drawing. Instead, she sort of became Madonna. So, like a month ago, I was in a Bear Burger in the city and they were playing 80s music videos on a TV, and I guess the imagery from Like a Prayer has just been lodged in my brain since then and came out in this design. So now she's like a Catholic ghost. Listen man, I didn't mean to make her so self-indulgent, it just kinda happened. I did always associate the ball and chain thing with Jacob Marley from A Christmas Carol.
I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
And Christmas just passed, so yeah, I don't know, whatever. At least Ophelia is Catholic, so I can kind of say I didn't entirely abandon that first idea. So I gave her pants and these kind of tall lace-up boots that have an old Victorian vibe to them, but since then her legs are all covered up, I wanted more of her skin to be showing so you could see that ghostly purple. So I gave her a tank top that looks like the dress from the music video. And of course, lots of chains as accessories. Her hair is super curly, and because it's shorter than the original version, both Gen 1 and Gen 3, it can float a little more freely. Oh, oops, I almost forgot her earrings. One is a key and one is a lock, just like in her Gen 3 design. Her final outfit kind of reminds me of Death from The Sandman, which I didn't mean to do, but I like, because she's bae. I think I went a bit crazier on these designs than I needed to be honest. Probably should have reined myself in a little. The full body and close-up both took around 4 hours each, but I was just having so much fun. As much as I love Winx, it was kind of refreshing to draw something else for a bit. Though, in the efforts of keeping this series sustainable and avoiding burnout, I'll be trying to get the upcoming monsters done a bit faster. Time shall tell if I succeed in this endeavor. So yeah, that's my version of Spectra Vondergeist. She isn't really anything like the Gen 1 or Gen 3 version, or anything in between, but I had so much fun with her anyway. Let me know how you think she bit the dust in the comments. Alright, keeping it purple, we're gonna be doing Twyla next. Lavender/purple skin is one of my favorite character design things, by the way, to the point where I debated designing my whole Sona around them having lavender skin. I mean, I've been cosplaying Opal from Steven Universe for years, and though I haven't worn her to a con yet, I do have a whole Queen Angela cosplay that's one of my favorites to wear. I don't know what that means about me, but being purple just feels right. Anyways, back to the task at hand.
Twyla.
Twyla Boogeyman is the daughter of the Boogeyman, believe it or not.
You know me. I'm comfortable being in the shadows.
She was one of my favorite designs from Gen 1. I don't know, I think it's mostly her colors, but I also really like her hair. And I feel like her 3D model from Gen 2 has like a really nice face sculpt. Even though they made her like green? It's a very weird shade of green. I don't know, it's almost gray. Ooh, it was so hard to choose between leg warmers or frilly socks. I chose the socks though. I thought they went better with her shoes, but honestly, I probably should have gave her more interesting shoes. Anyways, her Gen 3 redesign actually didn't change that much, I don't think. She does seem a lot softer visually, which fits her new personality more, but they kept a lot of her iconic details. She's purple again, yay, and has her thick, straight-cut bangs. If you look closely, she actually does have the swirly shadow pattern on her arms and legs, it's just subtle. God, I was not sure what to put on her sweater. I was thinking I could maybe do something with like a sun and a moon pattern, but I didn't like that. So I tried going for something that felt dreamy but still soft. And I did this like cloud and stars design that I liked a lot, but you'll see I end up changing it to something that I just couldn't resist once I had the idea. I like the sweater that they gave her with this like swirl pattern, especially because it has such a wide neckline. And tight necklines are a really common sensory issue a lot of people have. Oh yeah, Gen 3 Twyla is canonically autistic.
I am autistic, and loudness bothers me.
Even though I knew about that going into the show, it was still kind of wild hearing a character just plainly say flat out that she's autistic. It makes me so happy, honestly. And I think Twyla is a really good choice for that representation. She's always been a character that takes a longer time to feel comfortable around someone, and as a boogie monster, her whole thing is that she's a monster of the shadows, so it makes sense to have her be sensitive to bright lights and loud noises in the first place. Her powers have to do with dreams, which she chooses to use to help people instead of giving them nightmares like her dad does. So she soothes other monsters, and she also has her own fidget bracelet to soothe herself. It subverts the stereotype that all autistic people are low empathy and don't understand other people or their feelings whatsoever. Here's where I changed the design of the sweater to make it be a quilt. I thought it was just so cozy feeling and went nicely with her theming. Let me know if it looks convincingly quilty because I'm not sure if it reads as a bedspread or just a patchwork sweater. I think the star and moon appliques help at least. And it's a bit more interesting than just being a design printed onto fabric. One of the things they kept for Gen 3 is her using her powers for good, despite her dad still using his to create nightmares. I don't think she's actively going around undoing her dad's work anymore, but I like that she still helps people when they're having bad dreams. The main complaint I think I have with Twyla's original Gen 1 and 2 look is that I feel like she doesn't have as distinct of a style as other ghouls. Even though I really liked her as a character, her outfit felt sort of blah to me. Like they were definitely going for something, but I feel like it needed to be pushed a lot more. Her color palette is so iconic though, and I feel like her hair is definitely the main star of her design, but I feel like they could have come up with a cooler outfit for her. I don't know, I guess it just feels like her Gen 3 outfit had a little more thought put into it comparatively. One of my favorite details I added was these humongous eyes. And obviously, I'm not the first person to give Twyla big spooky eyes. She is a boogie monster after all. But the reason I was so excited is because this is just how her eyes look when she's in a well-lit environment. Since her monster type exists within the shadows, I figure she must have a really good night vision and be able to see in darkness so extreme that even a werecat would be struggling. So when Twyla is in the dark, her pupils dilate, and she looks like this. Her eyes are significantly larger than other monsters, and this is a trait of her species, of her monster type. She just looks like that, and we love her for it. Gen 1 Twyla is also best friends with Howleen, who I think has a really unique and interesting original design, and she got a lot of updates and changes to her look over time, which I think made it more obvious that Twyla didn't seem to get as much thought put into hers. This is such a cute ship, by the way. I didn't really know about it until I was looking at Twyla's Tumblr tag the other night and discovered how cute they are together.
You don't need to be popular, Howleen. The monsters that matter already know how awesome you are.
However, the Gen 3 reboot changes a lot of characters in ways that totally throw off my shipping charts into something completely new, and though I like new Twyla and new Howleen individually, I just don't think I ship them. Obviously, you'll get all my opinions on characters as I do their redesigns, and I'll try not to include a lot of spoilers, but it's hard to really talk about some of the things I like without them. For Winx, I don't feel as bad since the seasons I talk about are also old, and I'm mostly changing them anyways. But the Monster High reboot was in 2023. I guess if you're watching a redesign though, you probably at least know what happens already, right? Eyes emoji. I do want to say I think Gen 3 Manny is so cute, and I was so happy when he wanted to ask Twyla to the dance. It's also funny because Twyla is my partner's favorite character, and the one character he kept saying he didn't like was Manny. He said it's because they didn't commit enough to him having the face of a bull, so he ended up looking uncanny. Uncanny Manny. But I think he just doesn't appreciate good furry bait like I do. He says his favorite scene with Twyla is when she shoots her autism ray at the bookworm. And she really does. Don't worry, by the way, he's a kindred spirit. But for real, shout out to my boyfriend for watching silly kids cartoons with me that he would definitely never watch otherwise. One day we'll cosplay Angela and Micah, I promise. I really wanted to keep Twyla in a sweater for my design and give her a clearer direction for her style. Something cute and cozy that she could probably fall asleep in that satisfies the inner child without being straight up childish. Girl autism isn't often represented, but I know it's still a big stereotype that autistic girls are childish and that they are constantly infantilized. She's still a teenager, she's just cute and likes bunnies. However, part of her character arc in Gen 3 is that she fears growing up, which I think is a really nice thing to show for younger audiences watching, because this is a kid's cartoon. Despite being very emotionally mature, she's still nervous about leaving behind the comfort of being a kid, and is worried that growing up will mean having to leave behind a lot of the more seemingly childlike things that make her happy. I love this Twyla. It's very relatable, okay? Since I gave her a sweater with longer sleeves, her wrists are now covered, so instead of her fidget bracelet, I gave her a fidget necklace instead. It's actually based on one that I have, where it's a little round charm on a metal axis so it can be spun around. I have ADHD and must always be wearing a necklace since it's my go-to for fidgeting. Well, that and my hair. Twyla already wears headphones a lot, so I thought that giving her a pair that feels more like a true accessory would be nice. That way, they can be more of a staple part of her outfit. So, of course, they have to be pastel and bunny themed, obviously. I thought about having them be light up headphones, but I didn't think that made sense for a monster that lurks in the shadows. On a bunch of supplemental Twyla stuff, like her bios and things like that, she specifically mentions her favorite color being Blurple. So, of course, I went heavy on the Blurple. One thing I'm learning while doing these designs is that I am really not used to adding patterns to clothing in my art. I guess it makes sense since I've been doing animation-focused designs for a few years, and intricate patterns aren't super compatible with the hand-drawn 2D stuff I do, but I want these Monster High designs to be a little different than what I usually do. I'm hoping to get myself to do some more interesting poses as well, without really worrying about them being suitable for a model sheet, and trying to add a lot more detail to my designs overall, since this is a fashion doll brand. And I'm having a lot of fun with shading and doing the close-ups for these pieces too, since I don't have to do 3 different outfits. But remember when I said I was gonna try to draw faster and not spend as much time on the drawings? I already failed. I spent like 6 hours just on the full body design, and I feel like I still didn't add enough accessories. I didn't use any of the doorknob motifs that the original uses, like her Gen 1, Gen 2 earrings or her Gen 3 hair clip. I was focusing more on the sleepy, dreamy part of her themes, and I guess I imagine the boogeyman more as standing in the dark corner of your room or waiting under your bed to grab your toes, as opposed to lurking in your closet. Then again, I didn't actually have a closet until like 2 years ago. Just dressers, which would be a lot harder for a monster to hide in. So that's Twyla Boogeyman. I am very interested to hear what you guys think about this video and this new series, I guess. Let me know, did you like the original Spectra designs? Did you like Twyla better? Who's your favorite out of the 2 of them? Who's your favorite out of the 2 of them for my redesigns? If this is the first video of mine that you're seeing, I mentioned it before, but I usually am doing a Winx rewrite and redesigning all of the characters from that show. But I will be doing more Monster High, so if you're interested in either of those things, drop a follow, maybe a like, and I'll see you next time. Bye!